Welcome to a place where the world slows down, where the gentle glow of firelight dances across weathered walls, and where stories unfold like warm blankets on the coldest nights. I'm your storyteller for this evening, and I've been waiting for you to arrive. Can you hear that? The soft crackling of logs settling in the hearth, the whisper of flames painting shadows that seem to breathe with life itself. This is where magic happens, where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, and where sleep arrives not as an interruption, but as a gentle companion. Tonight, we're going to embark on a journey together, not the kind that requires maps or passports, but the kind that happens when you close your eyes and let your imagination take flight. We'll visit enchanted forests where moonbeams weave through ancient oaks, discover hidden villages where time moves at the pace of honey, and meet characters who feel as real as the warmth radiating from this very fire. But here's what makes tonight special. This isn't just about stories. This is about creating a sanctuary, a sacred space where your mind can finally release the weight of the day, where the endless chatter of thoughts begins to quiet, and where peace isn't something you chase, but something that finds you. You see, there's something profound that happens when we combine the timeless art of storytelling with the primal comfort of fire. Our ancestors knew the secret. They gathered around flames just like this one, sharing tales that weren't just entertainment, but medicine for the soul. The flickering light, the rhythmic crackling, the gentle warmth, these elements work together to activate something deep within us, something that modern life often forgets to nourish. Scientists have discovered that the sound of a crackling fire actually lowers cortisol levels, that stress hormone that keeps us wired and restless. The visual dance of flames triggers what researchers call the soft fascination response, allowing our minds to rest while remaining gently engaged. It's as if fire speaks a language our nervous system understands perfectly, whispering ancient promises of safety and comfort. And when we layer storytelling into this experience, something magical occurs. Stories don't just entertain us, they reorganize our thoughts, help us process emotions, and create new neural pathways that lead toward calm. The rhythm of narrative, the gentle rise and fall of plot, mirrors the natural rhythms of sleep itself. Tonight, I've curated something special for you, not just one story, but a collection of tales designed to guide you deeper into tranquility with each passing moment. We'll begin with a gentle adventure in a moonlit garden, where a curious hedgehog discovers that sometimes the most beautiful journeys happen when we're not trying to get anywhere at all. From there, we'll drift into the tale of an old lighthouse keeper who tends to more than just ships in the night, and learns that the light we share with others has a way of illuminating our own path home. Then we'll visit a small village where the town clockmaker discovers that time itself can be a gift when we learn to move with its natural rhythm rather than against it. Each story has been carefully crafted to work with your body's natural sleep cycles, beginning with gentle engagement and gradually softening into deeper relaxation. The pacing slows, the descriptions become more dreamy, and the resolutions arrive like soft rain on thirsty earth. But here's the beautiful part. You don't need to stay awake for every word. In fact, I encourage you to let yourself drift whenever sleep calls to you. Those stories are designed to be companions, not obligations. They'll continue their gentle work, even as your conscious mind begins to rest, creating a bridge between waking and sleeping that feels as natural as breathing. As we settle in together, I want you to notice how the fire seems to pulse with its own heartbeat. Watch how the flames reach upward, always dancing, always changing, yet somehow constant in their warmth. This is the rhythm we'll carry with us tonight, dynamic yet peaceful, engaging yet soothing. Feel free to adjust your position to find that perfect spot where comfort meets support. Perhaps you're curled up in your favorite chair, or maybe you've created a nest of pillows and blankets. Wherever you are, you're exactly where you need to be. The stories we'll share tonight come from that timeless place where all good tales are born, the intersection of imagination and truth, where the impossible feels inevitable and the magical seems as natural as sunrise. They're stories that remember what we sometimes forget, that wonder isn't something we outgrow, but something we can choose to rediscover any time we're willing to listen. There's something particularly powerful about experiencing stories in this way, with fire as our companion. Unlike the blue light of screens that stimulates and energizes, firelight soothes and calms. Unlike the rapid-fire pace of modern entertainment, these tales unfold at the speed of reflection, giving your mind time to savor each image, each emotion, each gentle revelation. You might find yourself remembering childhood bedtime stories, or perhaps feeling transported to a world that seems both foreign and familiar. This is the gift of narrative. It connects us to something larger than ourselves, while simultaneously helping us discover parts of ourselves we'd forgotten existed. As the fire continues its ancient dance, casting ever-changing patterns of light and shadow, we're reminded that stories, like flames, are living things. They breathe, they grow, they warm us from the inside out. And just as no two fires burn exactly the same way, each person who hears these tales will experience them uniquely, finding exactly what they need in this moment. The crackling grows softer now, settling into that perfect rhythm that seems to sync with your heartbeat. Can you feel it? The way your breathing naturally wants to match the gentle rise and fall of the flames? This is your body's wisdom at work, recognizing safety, embracing peace. Tonight, we're not just telling stories, we're creating an experience, one where the boundaries between listener and tale begin to blur, where the warmth of the fire becomes indistinguishable from the warmth of the narrative, where the journey into sleep feels less like falling and more like floating. In our first tale, we'll meet Emma, a young woman who tends to a moonlit garden where nothing grows during the day, but where the most extraordinary flowers bloom only under starlight. She's been the guardian of this secret place for 7 years, but tonight, something different is about to unfold. A small hedgehog with silver quills will wander into her garden, and together they'll discover that some of the most important adventures happen not when we're seeking them, but when we're simply present enough to notice them. The fire settles deeper into its bed of coals, the flames now dancing lower, more intimately. This is the perfect light for storytelling, warm enough to see, soft enough to dream. And as we prepare to step into our first tale, I want you to know that you're not just a listener tonight. You're a participant in something ancient and sacred, something that connects you to every person who has ever found comfort in stories shared by firelight. So let yourself sink a little deeper into comfort. Let the warmth of the fire seep into your bones. Let the gentle crackling become the soundtrack to your journey into peace. And when you're ready, we'll begin our first tale where magic lives in the quiet moments and wonder waits in the spaces between heartbeats. The hedgehog appeared at the garden's edge just as the clock tower chimed midnight, its silver quills catching moonbeams like tiny mirrors. Emma had been tending to her night-blooming jasmine when she noticed the small creature, no bigger than her cupped hands, sniffing delicately at the border where ordinary earth met her enchanted soil. For 7 years, Emma had been the sole guardian of this secret garden, a place that existed in the pause between day and night, where flowers that couldn't survive in sunlight flourished under the gentle caress of stars. She'd grown accustomed to solitude, finding companionship in the whispered conversations of night-blooming cereus and the soft laughter of moonflowers as they unfurled their petals. But tonight felt different. The air hummed with possibility, and even the familiar sounds of her garden seemed to carry new melodies. The fountain's gentle murmur sounded almost like words, and the rustle of leaves created harmonies she'd never noticed before. The hedgehog stepped carefully onto the luminescent moss that carpeted the garden's pathways, its tiny feet leaving glowing prints that faded like stardust. Emma knelt slowly, extending her hand palm up, and to her surprise, the creature approached without fear. "You're not from around here, are you?" she whispered, and the hedgehog tilted its head as if understanding every word. Its dark eyes reflected the garden's ethereal light, and Emma noticed something extraordinary. Each quill seemed to contain a tiny spark, as if the creature carried fragments of starlight within its very being. The hedgehog began to walk, not hurriedly, but with the confident pace of someone who knows exactly where they're going. Emma found herself following, her bare feet silent on the glowing moss, her cotton nightgown trailing behind her like mist. They passed the grove of silver birches, whose leaves chimed like tiny bells, wound around the pond where water lilies bloomed in spirals of blue and violet, and continued toward the heart of the garden, where Emma had never ventured after midnight. Here, in the very center of her sanctuary, stood a tree she'd somehow never truly seen before. Its trunk was ancient and gnarled, its branches reaching toward the sky like gentle arms. But tonight, something was different. The tree was breathing, its bark expanding and contracting with the rhythm of deep sleep, and from its branches hung not leaves, but crystalline orbs that pulsed with soft, warm light. The hedgehog sat at the base of the tree and began to hum, a sound so pure and peaceful that Emma felt her entire body relax. The melody seemed to come from the earth itself, rising through the roots, spiraling up through the trunk, and harmonizing with the gentle chiming of the crystal orbs above. Emma settled beside her new companion, leaning against the breathing tree, and felt something she hadn't experienced in years: complete peace. Not the satisfaction of a job well done, or the quiet contentment of a successful day's work, but the profound stillness that comes from being exactly where you belong, exactly when you're meant to be there. As the hedgehog's humming continued, the crystal orbs began to glow brighter, and Emma realized they weren't just lights, they were memories. Beautiful moments captured in crystalline form, each one pulsing with its own gentle warmth. There was the memory of her grandmother's hands teaching her to plant seeds, the feeling of summer rain on her face, the laughter of children playing in distant gardens, the quiet satisfaction of watching something grow. "These are the moments that matter," she whispered to the hedgehog, understanding flooding through her like warm honey. "Not the grand adventures or the spectacular achievements, but these quiet instances of connection, of presence, of simply being alive and aware." The hedgehog's humming grew softer, and Emma felt her eyelids growing heavy. The tree's breathing seemed to synchronize with her own, and the crystal orbs dimmed to a gentle glow that reminded her of firelight. She was safe here, cradled by the ancient wisdom of the garden, accompanied by a creature that had somehow known exactly what she needed. As sleep began to claim her, Emma heard the hedgehog's humming transform into something even more beautiful, the sound of contentment itself, a melody that spoke of journeys that didn't require movement, of adventures that happened in the space between one breath and the next. The fire before us settles deeper into its embrace of glowing coals, and perhaps you, like Emma, are discovering that some of the most profound journeys happen when we stop trying to get somewhere and simply allow ourselves to be present with what is. The gentle crackling continues its ancient song, and we prepare to drift into our second tale. But first, let your breathing find its own natural rhythm. Notice how your body has already begun to relax, how the tension in your shoulders has started to melt away like morning frost touched by sunlight. This is the gift of story. It doesn't just entertain us, it transforms us, opening doorways to peace we didn't know existed. Our next tale takes us to a lighthouse perched on a cliff overlooking an endless sea, where an old keeper named Samuel has spent 30 years guiding ships safely to shore. But tonight, as storm clouds gather on the horizon, he's about to discover that the light he's been tending all these years has been preparing him for something far more important than he ever imagined. The waves crash against the rocks below with rhythmic persistence, creating a percussion that harmonizes perfectly with our fire's gentle crackling. Samuel climbs the spiral staircase of his lighthouse one more time, his weathered hands steady on the iron railing, his heart filled with the quiet satisfaction of a life spent in service to others. But as he reaches the top and lights the great beacon, something extraordinary happens. The light doesn't just shine outward across the dark waters. It begins to reveal things that were always there, waiting to be seen. Ships, yes, but also something more. Stories written in the waves, messages carried on the wind, connections between all living things that span the vast ocean of existence. The storm approaches, but Samuel is no longer afraid. He understands now that his light has never been just about guiding ships. It's been about tending to hope itself, keeping alive the belief that no matter how dark the night becomes, dawn will always return. And in that understanding, he finds a peace deeper than any harbor, a stillness more profound than any calm sea. As the lighthouse beam cuts through the gathering darkness, Samuel feels something shift within him. The light seems to pulse with its own heartbeat, and he realizes that for 30 years, he's been more than just a keeper of the flame. He's been a guardian of something sacred. Each ship he's guided safely home has carried with it hopes and dreams, families reunited, journeys completed. His light has been a thread in the vast tapestry of human connection. The storm breaks against the lighthouse with magnificent fury, but Samuel stands calm at the center of it all. The beacon turns steadily, its warm glow reaching far beyond the physical realm, touching something eternal. He thinks of all the nights he's climbed these stairs, all the moments he's felt alone in his tower, and understands now that he was never truly alone. Every soul who saw his light felt less isolated. Every captain who found safe harbor carried a piece of his care with them. As the tempest subsides and the first stars emerge between parting clouds, Samuel descends the stairs one final time. Tomorrow, a younger keeper will take his place. But tonight, he's learned that the light he's tended has been tending to him all along. The peace he feels isn't just the calm after a storm. It's the deep satisfaction of a purpose fulfilled, a duty completed with love. The fire beside us burns lower now, its flames dancing with gentle grace, and we drift into our final tale. In a village where time moves like honey, where the old clockmaker's shop holds secrets that tick and talk with the rhythm of eternity itself, we'll discover that the most precious moments aren't the ones we try to capture, but the ones we allow to simply be. Master Chen has been mending timepieces for 60 years, his gentle hands coaxing life back into silent springs and wounded gears. But tonight, as he works on a peculiar clock that keeps perfect time yet never seems to move forward, he's about to learn that time isn't something to be fixed, but something to be danced with. The clock's pendulum swings with hypnotic rhythm, matching the steady pulse of our dying fire. Chen adjusts his spectacles and peers into the mechanism, seeing not just gears and springs, but the delicate balance of moments that make up a life. Each tick is a heartbeat, each talk a breath, each hour a chapter in the endless story of existence. As midnight approaches, the mysterious clock begins to chime, but instead of striking 12, it plays a melody that seems to slow time itself. Chen sets down his tools and listens, feeling his pulse synchronize with the music, his breathing deepen with each note. The shop around him seems to shimmer, and he realizes that he's been surrounded by magic all along, not in the clocks themselves, but in the patience required to mend them, the love needed to restore them, the faith that broken things can be made whole again. The melody fades, and Chen understands that time isn't meant to be captured or controlled, but simply experienced. Each moment is perfect as it is, each breath a gift, each heartbeat a celebration. He closes his eyes and feels the great clock of the universe ticking all around him, in the fire that warms his face, in the night that cradles his village, in the stars that keep their eternal vigil above. And now, as our fire settles into its final glowing embrace, as the last flames dance their ancient dance, we too can feel that same rhythm. The tick-tock of time, not as an enemy to be defeated, but as a friend to be welcomed. Your breathing has found its natural pace, your heartbeat has settled into its gentle rhythm, and your mind has released its grip on the urgency of the day. Those stories we've shared tonight aren't just tales, they're invitations. Invitations to notice the magic in ordinary moments, to find peace in the present, to trust in the rhythm of life that flows through all things. Like Emma in her moonlit garden, you can discover that the most profound journeys happen in stillness. Like Samuel in his lighthouse, you can understand that the light you share illuminates your own path. Like Chen in his shop, you can learn that time becomes friend when we stop fighting it and start dancing with it. The fire has nearly returned to ember and ash, its work complete, its warmth still radiating through the space between dreams and waking. You've traveled far tonight without moving, discovered new worlds without leaving your chair, found peace without searching for it. This is the gift of story, the magic of firelight, the ancient wisdom that our ancestors knew, that sometimes the most important journeys are the ones that lead us home to ourselves. Let the gentle crackling of the last embers be your lullaby. Let the warmth of the dying fire be your blanket. Let the peace of these tales be your companion as you drift into sleep. The hedgehog still hums its gentle song. The lighthouse beam still guides travelers home, and the clockmaker's melody still plays in the space between seconds. Rest now, knowing that you carry these stories with you, that their peace has become your peace, their magic has become your magic. Sleep well, dream gently, and know that whenever you need to return to this place of warmth and wonder, these tales will be waiting for you, glowing softly in the embers of memory, ready to light your way home once again. The fire whispers its final goodnight, and in that whisper, all the stories of the world find their perfect ending, not with grand finales, but with the simple, profound beauty of peaceful sleep.